that rhythm of writing is the most difficult task to perform. So how to improve or upgrade the rhythm of writing?
By writing quite often. The easiest, but probably the easiest to say, but tough to actually perform, is that by constantly writing, by regularly writing, you can get into a desirable rhythm of writing. Because see, um, rhythm, uh, rhythm is not simply the instances of happening of something. Rhythm is also regularity of happening the instances. So as you keep on writing pretty often, you slowly get into the rhythm of writing. Rhythm of writing is not like any particular technique as such. It's a practice. And then I would also suggest that once you start writing pretty often, somehow your mind gets it trains itself, and then it catches that rhythm. I mean, you ask a cricketer, how do you play? And then the cricketer would not be able to answer it. Only say, no, I practiced and I concentrated. Right? That's precisely what writing is also about. And there are also cases where sometimes a cricketer loses a form. And when he loses a form, what is the best option to do is, he is generally kept out of the competitive matches. He goes back to the his basic things, looks at that, practice it again and again, and with few things he would come back into the rhythm, and that's how it is. So rhythm, how do you get? The simplest answer, practice.
So what do you think, means what are your views for the today's young generation writers? They are totally different from the ancient ones. This style of writing and...
That's a good question. I think of course I can't claim that I have read a lot of young writers as such. It's not that I'm very voracious readers of the writers of your generation, though I have read a couple of them, particularly in Marathi. But going by my experiences with students at department, at other places, and particularly going by the writings that I come across on Facebook walls, and the way creativity flows through many web series, I would say that the contemporary young writers or contemporary creative people have a lot of potential. However, their styles are different. And what are those styles? One of the important aspect of their style is they are better at writing humor, and their humor generally stems out of sarcasm, parody, irony, and spoof. I don't think any one of us can come up with as good spoofs on something as you people can come up with. No sooner a song comes, a spoof is already there. No sooner the movie comes, there's a spoof already there. So I think your creativity is generally channelized in the direction of humor, and a humor of a particular type, a parody and irony, or more importantly, a spoof. That's one. The second aspect of your generation's expression is you are more liberal in your expression than possibly the people, the writers of, say, my generation or a generation later. In a way, you care much less to the norms of decency and censor, and I'm not using this description in any negative sense, but than our generation says. Okay, so you are a little more free, liberal writer, but that liberty is only in terms of your expression. If you look at the quantum of writing, I think the earlier generation used to write a lot of things. So, for example, a novel used to run into 100 pages, 200 pages. An article used to run into 1200 words, 1500 words. Today, most of you keep on write very less. So you are a frugal writer, or you would like to limit it. It's almost like a cricket. If I were to use it, our generation was born and brought up on the doses of 5-day match, and your generation is much better at T20. It's almost like a difference between Sunil Gavaskar and Virat Kohli. Yes. Okay. Both are great in their own respect, but Kohli represents your generation. Quick, firebrand, aggressive,
Yes.
no nonsense, but a quick writer. Whereas Sunil Gavaskar is more steady, planned, more decent, played out, strategic. So that's fairly common even to the right.
Sir, as the next question, sir, we have for English we have Chetan Bhagat and Arundhati Roy. For Hindi we have Kumar Vishwas, and as a storyteller we have Nilesh Mishra on the yes sir. Sir, as a professional, being professional, what is the scope of part-time creative writer nowadays?
A lot. I would say there is a lot. And I would say there is a lot, mostly because you use the word part-time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. For full-time, I'm not too sure what's the potential. I have not been one. But part-time, yes. Because see, you look at it this way, that today the writing, expression, creating new content is much in demand, mostly because of the proliferation of different media, particularly internet. You have several websites, you have several blogs, you have several politicians trying to gain attention of people, you have several companies trying to gain attention, you have many other people and institutions who want to grab attention of people, particularly on the space of internet. Okay. Now the point is that there is so much, there are so many people who want it but they are not getting it. Partly is because they are not putting it in the proper way, and therefore they would require people who are a little better skilled at writing creatively, and that's why there is a great demand for creative writers. Of course, the creativity here is not an unbound creativity of the literature style or poetry style, but creativity for a purpose, creativity in case with an application. There is a lot of scope for such part-time writer. Several websites are there, several content development exercises and assignments are there on the website, and they would require. So, for example, there is a product, and the product has to be introduced. So you will require people who would introduce it. Even for reviews, see, no sooner a product is launched these days, reviews would start flowing from across on different platforms on internet. And if you are a company, you are introducing a product, you would also like good review writers. It's an applied job. I mean, people would have a problem with calling it as a creative job, I understand that. But it also requires good creative insight to write attractive, convincing review. So if you ask me part-time, I would say there is much scope,
Yes,
lot of scope, particularly because of the internet and digital platform.
Yes. Sir, at last, what is the message from your side to Inventnote Workspace?
To?
Inventnote Workspace.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
Sir, the organization that we have made you earlier. So what is your message from your side?
To be very honest, I'm just a teacher and probably not celebrity enough or good enough to give you a message. But I just wish all the best to you and suggest, if not message, that put your heart, be honest, and I'm sure you would succeed the work that you have undertaken in this particular thing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.